Greetings, folks. This is DC Investing. I've reached financial independence, and I'm talking about topics that might help others on their path to reaching financial independence. And today I wanted to talk about one of the dividend payers that I have. It's uh, it's a good paying dividend thing. So for anybody who's interested in this type of a strategy, then this might be for you. So the company is called I can't like USAC Compression Partners. Might be just US. I'm not sure. The ticker is USAC. And what this company does is they provide um, the mechanical hardware that's used to pressurize pipelines that move energy around the country. And it's a difficult type of thing because everything is flammable inside there. So you got to be really careful about the types of pumps and other things you use. And, um, the cargo is valuable, so got to be careful. And I'll put some pictures of some of these compression stations that the company does here because I think that's kind of interesting. Um, but this is a high dividend paying company. And in August, I got $1,429 for owning these shares. So my yearly dividend amount will be 4 times that because this company pays once a quarter, so every 3 months. So that was what I got paid. The yield on these, the ownership is about, what is it, 8.63% based on the share price when I mentioned, or when I took these calculations. So that's a really high yield, and it's great. I love it. Um, the number of shares that I own, actually, they're not shares, they're units, but it's 2,813 that I own. And then the dollar price that I have is $68,355. So it's a good chunk. Um, and, it fits within my other allocations. It's not, um, it's a big position, but it's not the biggest position that I have. So, I've kind of spread out my investments over a bunch of different stocks and things, but this is kind of an interesting one. I like the high dividend yield. I like what they do. The way I found out about about USAC is it was one of the stocks that is in the pipeline ETFs that I was interested in. I think this one is in the Illyrian Midstream Index. I could get that wrong, but the two funds that I have used that track this are MLPA and AMLP. And I'm always interested about what the holdings are in various ETFs. And so I had looked through. I'd owned MLPA for a couple years, and then I decided to buy the stocks or the partnerships within it myself, so I'd save the 0.5% fee on the ETF. And so I just kind of went through, and whatever they were doing in their ETF, I kind of mimicked that and ended up buying the individual companies myself. So something to know about this company: it's not, you can buy it like a stock, but it's not a stock. It's a partnership. And so instead of buying shares, you're buying units. And instead of paying dividends, they pay distributions. And the distributions are great. They come as return of capital, which has some really great tax benefits. And basically, you don't get taxed in the year the distribution comes. You get taxed when you sell your shares eventually. So each distribution reduces the effective price that you purchase the shares at. So over the course of receiving dividends, gradually the purchase price that you got these for is in effect reduced according to the IRS. Um, so I love the tax advantages because I have still a pretty high income from a W-2 job that I'm kind of in the process of wrapping up, but the income is pretty high. And so if I was getting dividends, I'd have to pay taxes on those, or if I was getting capital gains, I'd have to pay taxes on those. But because this is return of capital, right now I do not pay taxes on these distributions. So that $1,400 that I got this quarter, And the other 3 distributions, I will not pay taxes this year on those distributions, which is a great thing right now. Eventually, I'll have to strategically figure out when to sell these shares, or if the company gets bought by something else, that could create an interesting tax issue at that time. But for right now, this works really well. So this is a master limited partnership. It pays return on capital once a quarter. You own units, and every year I get a K1 statement from USAC that I have to enter into TurboTax. And it is not terribly uh, difficult, but you just kind of have to go through their software and enter the fields. And if I ever sell the shares, that's when I have to figure out how much I paid for these shares, how much the basis got reduced by over the years, and figure that out on my taxes. I don't plan to sell these shares. I'm just going to hold them, and I typically acquire more if the price goes down under the 200-day moving average, and it looks like it's of value. I pick up more shares because I like the distributions, and I do these for all the different pipelines that I own. And I'm kind of always watching the market, and right now I'm just reinvesting the dividends that come in. So I'm adding to shares right now. Eventually I'll stop and just live off of these dividends, but that's what I'm doing right now. Something that I think may be a drawback to this company is they have not raised their dividend for quite some time. So I believe if this is the correct one, it was 2018 was when this dividend last got raised, and then they haven't raised it since then. So that could be a red flag on this company because all the other pipelines have been raising the dividend. So, maybe the company's trying to pay off debt, or, I don't know for sure. But that's one of the flags that I see, because typically companies try to raise their dividends. This one has not for quite some time. Now, I can understand in 2020, 2021, the price of oil went negative during that time, and things were kind of crazy. I know a couple other companies actually cut their dividend at that time. USAC did not, but again, the dividend has just been held right here. So that's a concern. I think I'll try to throw in some images of where these compression state, or basically what this company is, how they hook up to the pipelines, where they're located, because I think that's interesting. And they do investor presentations that you can look at that I think are useful. But overall, it's been 2 or 3 years that I've owned this one. It's been a consistent dividend payer. The price has appreciated over the time that I found it, and it potentially can be a grower over the next while. USAC has a relationship to Energy Transfer, which is another master limited partnership. And Energy Transfer actually owns part of USAC. They own the general partner, and I think they also own 38% of the limited partnership. So heavily connected to Energy Transfer. And in Energy Transfer's recent investor statement, they kind of showed all the requests for growth that they have over the next while. I think they had something like 60 utilities that wanted connections to their pipeline, and 200 data centers had requested access to the pipeline. So that was one of the growth stories. And Energy Transfer also planned on building a new pipeline from Texas all the way out to Phoenix. So I would assume that U.S. Compression Partners will also be part of that pipeline, because anytime energy moves down a hill or up a hill, not down a hill, but back up a hill, you have to compress the liquids in order to push it around. So, various compression locations are needed, or compression stations, that's the right word for it, are needed in order to move oil and gas around. And this company makes all the parts and pieces and supports them. So it's a potential growing stock, because as more pipelines get put in, as we have more need for energy for the AI systems, we're going to need more pipelines and more compression stations. Hard with that word. So anyhow, you can take a look, do your own research. This isn't investment advice, but this is an interesting option for your investment. An 8.6% dividend yield is awesome. That means if you're reinvesting dividends, takes you like 9 years to get 100% of your value back again, according to the law of 72. So that's just a really great thing. So interesting, something I use. I thought I'd share it. I love the dividends. I plan on living on the dividends from all the pipelines that I have as I decide when I'm going to retire. And that's kind of my story. So like, subscribe. Hope you got something from this. And do any of you know about USAC? Do you use it? Do you like it? If you know anything about the company, pitfalls or growth story, then share those. That'd be great. We'll see you. Bye.